This episode of the Burnout Recovery Podcast is brought to you by MEGA, your medical indemnity partner. Whether you're starting out in your career or have decades of experience, MEGA helps you thrive with support that goes beyond insurance. Enjoy travel benefits like complimentary travel insurance and Qantas points on your membership, plus education, medico-legal support, access to career coaching and wellbeing resources. Visit mega.com.au to learn more. Insurance issued by Medical Insurance Australia, which has not taken into account your objectives or situation. Before you make any decisions about our policies, please read our PDS and consider your needs. Call us for a copy or visit mega.com.au. Burnout isn't just exhaustion. It's carrying too much for too long. Heidi takes the administrative load off clinicians so you can focus on what matters, patient care. Recovery starts with removing what drains you. Try Heidi for free at heidihealth.com.
Welcome to the Burnout Recovery Podcast, a guiding resource dedicated to healthcare professionals on their journey to overcoming burnout. Spearheaded by Dr. Joe Braid, a certified professional coach and rehabilitation physician.
Hello and welcome back to the Burnout Recovery Podcast. I'm Dr. Joe Braid, your host and a medical doctor with over 20 years of experience in healthcare. How is the new year starting for you? This is episode 165, and today we're diving into something many of you might be experiencing right now, those unexpected feelings after what should have been a restorative break. I am talking about post-holiday blues. So whether you've just returned from summer holidays here in the Southern Hemisphere, or you're settling back into routine after the Northern Hemisphere's winter break, today's episode is for you. We're exploring why you might not feel as rested and recharged as you expected, and more importantly, what you can do about it. So let me start with a story that might sound familiar. Mid-2025, I took a trip to the UK to see my mum. A real holiday, not a work trip. Yes, it was short, but it was absolutely wonderful. We had the most amazing catch-up, quality time together, seeing the wider family and some of my university friends as well, and I felt so connected and really full of joy. To maximize every precious moment of that holiday time, I scheduled my return to work for the day after I landed. Yes, off a 24-hour flight. I thought I was being clever, squeezing every drop of joy from the experience. Instead, I found myself sitting in my clinic on that first day back feeling oddly disconnected and quite flat. The contrast was jarring. One day I was laughing with mum over tea. The next day I was back to the familiar weight of patient consultations and clinical decisions. I kept thinking I should feel grateful and energized from that beautiful time. What is happening to me? If this resonates with you, you're not alone, and more importantly, there's nothing wrong with you. What you're experiencing has a name. It's often called the post-holiday blues, and there's solid science behind why it happens. First, let me share some of the common symptoms you might be experiencing right now. So post-holiday blues can show up as a range of these symptoms: feeling flat, low, or mildly depressed despite having had a good break. Difficulty concentrating or focusing, irritability, or feeling more sensitive than usual. Fatigue that seems disproportionate to your usual activity level, a sense of dread about returning to routine, feeling disconnected from work that usually feels meaningful, sleep disturbances, anxiety about upcoming responsibilities, a general sense that something is missing or life feels less colourful. Difficulty making decisions, and you might be having that nostalgia about the holiday experience. So the key player, the neuroscience behind this, is dopamine. It's our brain's reward and motivation neurotransmitter. And during holidays, especially when we're doing enjoyable activities like spending quality time with loved ones, our dopamine levels spike. We're experiencing novelty, pleasure, and freedom from our usual stressors. Our brains get accustomed to these elevated levels. Dr. Anna Lembke's research at Stanford, detailed in her book, Dopamine Nation, explains this beautifully. Anna describes how our brains work like a balance. When we tip towards pleasure, our brains automatically tip back towards pain to restore equilibrium. The higher the high, the lower the subsequent low. And for us as healthcare workers and helping professionals, this effect can be particularly pronounced. We're returning not just to routine, but to high stress, high demand environments. The contrast between holiday freedom and workplace intensity creates an even steeper dopamine drop. But here's what I want you to understand. This isn't a character flaw or a sign that you're not cut out for this work. It's your brain doing exactly what it's designed to do. Research published in the Journal of Happiness Studies found that the positive effects of vacation typically fade within 2 to 4 weeks. However, here's the encouraging part. The same research shows that understanding this process and having strategies in place can significantly extend those benefits. So, what can we do about it? Let me share with you 3 evidence-based approaches that I use personally and recommend to colleagues. First, gradual re-entry. So instead of diving back into full intensity, create a buffer zone. If possible, return to work midweek rather than Monday if you have a Monday through Friday schedule. Schedule lighter days initially where you can. I certainly learned this the hard way after my UK trip, and now I will always try to give myself at least one day at home before returning to patient care. Secondly, maintain holiday elements. Identify what specifically made your break restorative and weave smaller versions into your regular routine. Maybe it was a morning walk. Was it reading fiction? Was it cooking amazing meals? And don't abandon these little highlights that you had through your holiday time completely. A study in applied psychology found that employees who maintained some vacation-like activities showed sustained well-being improvements for up to 4 weeks longer than those who didn't. And thirdly, reset your dopamine baseline. So this is where Dr. Lemke's work becomes practical. She suggests a dopamine fast, temporarily reducing high stimulation activities to allow your baseline to reset. So this might mean limiting social media scrolling, reducing caffeine, or choosing simpler pleasures for a few weeks. I tried this after my recent break, and while the first few days did feel pretty uncomfortable, by week 2, I noticed my natural energy and my motivation really returning. Now, let me address something specific to our profession. As healthcare workers, we often carry guilt about needing recovery time. We think, people are suffering, how can I complain about post-holiday blues? Well, here's what I've learned in 2 decades of medicine. Your well-being directly impacts your care for others. The research is clear on this, and a study in the Journal of Occupational Health Psychology found that healthcare workers who practice better self-care show improved patient outcomes and reduced medical errors. So taking care of your post-holiday adjustment isn't selfish, it is essential. I also want to acknowledge that not everyone has the privilege of taking extended breaks. And if you're listening to this and thinking, what holiday? I haven't had time off in months. I see you. The principles we're discussing, understanding dopamine, creating small restorative moments, and being compassionate with yourself apply whether you're returning from time with loved ones or just trying to find moments of restoration in your current routine. As we wrap up today's episode, I want to leave you with this thought. Post-holiday blues aren't a sign that your break wasn't good enough or that you're not resilient enough. They're a normal neurobiological response that we can understand and work with rather than against. So you might want to do this coming week. Assess your re-entry. Look at your schedule in the next 2 weeks. Where can you build in gentleness? And what can you postpone or delegate? Secondly, identify your holiday elements. Write down 3 specific things that made your break restorative. How can you incorporate smaller versions of these into your regular routine? And thirdly, practice dopamine awareness. Notice when you're reaching for high stimulation activities to feel better. Instead, try a 5-minute walk, deep breathing, or simply sitting quietly. And here are some reflective questions. What would it look like to treat your post-holiday adjustment with the same compassion that you'd show to a colleague going through the same thing? How might understanding the science behind these feelings change your relationship with them? I'd love to hear how any of these strategies might work for you. Share your experience with one trusted colleague or friend this week, and sometimes just naming what we're going through reduces its power over us. Remember, taking care of yourself isn't a luxury in our profession, it's a responsibility. You matter, your well-being matters, and the work you do in the world matters. Thanks so much for listening again to the Burnout Recovery Podcast. I really appreciate it and hope that it is supporting you as you're kicking off the brand new year. I'm Dr. Jo Braid, and I'll be back next week with more evidence-based strategies for thriving in healthcare. Until then, be gentle with yourself. Ready to take the next step in your burnout recovery journey? Visit drjobraid.com for free resources, all 150 plus podcast episodes, and information about my keynote speaking. Links are in the show notes. Your well-being matters. Protect the asset that is you. If you're a clinician trying to protect your energy this year, hear this. We all know how the invisible work drains us. Those endless notes, follow-ups, and admin tasks that happen after every patient leaves. That's where Heidi comes in, an AI care partner that quietly handles the documentation while you stay focused on what matters: patient care. It's not another system to learn. It's support that actually reduces your cognitive load. Try Heidi for free today at HeidiHealth.com. Be your best you. Rely on MEGA for your protection and support, serving doctors for over 125 years through insurance, education, medical legal advice, and member benefits designed to help you thrive and succeed. Insurance issued by Medical Insurance Australia, which has not taken into account your objectives or situation. Before you make any decisions about our policies, please read our PDS and consider your needs. Call us for a copy or visit mega.com.au.